I'm always thinking about how I can create things that help people show up in the world as their best selves.
I can appreciate that so much. Lady Mandalore.
Well, shit, I don't know how to fucking follow up with that goddamn thing. Good lord.
You will
Um,
try.
Unholster
You
the
will
gun.
try.
Fire off.
honestly, just aside from your book, which comes out in September, everybody go pre-order it on Amazon and all the places that he has it available. I honestly have a question about Japan. I know it is not about your book, and I'm so sorry for that. I want to go next year. I'm planning on going for Star Wars Celebration.
That is happening in Japan next year. You're right.
It is. It is. I don't know a lick of Japanese. I'm also quite dark skinned. I don't know if I need to prepare myself for all of the not Japanese I'm going to be in a place that is very Japanese.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So I can provide some support there. Let me give some context for our friends that might not be as close as we are up here.
Yes.
For my new friends, I'm a writer, and I create stories like The Uncommons, which just came back on yesterday. So the Uncommons has new episodes dropping on Webtoon now. So we came back on Juneteenth on purpose. That was our pop out. The series came back just as Kendrick was taking the stage. I said, "There you go. You can't even you can't time it any better." Like Euphoria started, and then I get the notification.
Cheers.
You're uncommon. It's updated. I said, "Perfect, beautiful, great." But I also have a book called Weirdo. That is the Nerdy Kids Instruction Manual for Self-Love and Self-Confidence. It's a full graphic novel. It kind of chronicles my personal experience, learning how to love who I am, embracing the things about me that make me different. And it's kind of supposed to be a helping hand for every person as they go on that journey, because it's a journey that we all have to go on. And Lady Mandalore, that is relevant to Japan because the way that I got started as a writer, I was writing, of course, when I was in school. I used to write poetry a lot. I trained at the Tupac Shakur Center for the Arts for about 8 years. So Tupac's sister, Satua, was actually my first poetry teacher. So we call her Aunt Sat. And she taught me how to write poetry. So when I decided that I wanted to write comics, I was like, well, I really like manga. Manga's what I like. I'm going to go to Japan and study and study how they write in Japan. That was the idea. I was like, well, I gotta go see where all these stories that I like and that I fell in love with, where these stories got made, how they do it over there. I gotta go. So I spent about 8 months in Japan on a study abroad program, and I lived in Osaka, Japan, and what a time. I've had some. I made some videos about the adventures of me and my 4 other Black friends. We called ourselves the Blacks and Five. And we were just roaming the streets of Japan in a way that was like, I feel like if we were older, we wouldn't have been that free. Like some of the what is it over here? Yeah, like the Sword Art Online statues that you see like on the top shelf of my thing. My friend won those while we were in Japan. Like we would go to arcades, and he was the only one that was good at the game, so we just give him money to go and like win figures and stuff. But I would say you need to know a little bit. Like you need to know a little bit, like a little bit of Japanese. Like even just so for example, there are services that you can pay for where like when you get to the airport, your little like hotspot pocket Wi-Fi thing will be waiting for you to pick up at the airport, and you just grab it so that you're connected to data for the entire time that you're there. And then you just drop it off in the like mailbox at the airport when you go back. Tiny things like that. I'm like, that makes a trip a lot better. Knowing how to ask like basic things or communicate basic needs, I think is always good because very few people speak English. Very, very few.
Okay.
The fact that you can do something like that.
Where's Star Wars Celebration happening? Tokyo?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I can't remember which. Yeah, it's like an offshoot. It's a little bit outside of Tokyo. It's about an hour's drive from the main city.
Oh, that's good. So they're going to get a place we can take over.
Yeah. I'm very excited. And again, nervous.
The fact that you said pocket Wi-Fi, and I'm like, here we are, nothing.
Now, I'm gonna just say this: we already know that they're monitoring our stuff. I don't need them in
in your pocket.
Quite so.
And they're completely in your pocket.
The Pocket Wi-Fi Chronicles were actually a very great time. I don't feel like I made any videos about this, but you got to remember, like, my phone was on airplane mode the entire time while I was in Japan. I didn't have cellular data, so the only time I had access to anything was if I was connected to Wi-Fi. For the first two, like I didn't order my hotspot until I got there. So for the first 2 weeks, I only had Wi-Fi like when I was at home or when I was at school. So when I was in transit or anything like that, if I got lost, I was like, "Hey, dog, you kind of you're kind of on your own." But when I did get my pocket Wi-Fi, it was like, don't let that thing run out of battery. Don't do that. Don't let it run out of battery. One time we were at a coffee shop, like at least an hour away from home, and we like it was on like 1%, and we didn't know what train was supposed to take to get home. The trains were going to stop running in like the next half hour, so we really need to figure out what train we're supposed to go to. And we go in this coffee shop, and while we're waiting to be served, we plug in the hotspot, and the dude that was working there was like very upset with us. He was like, "No." My friend, who is darker than me and has like dreadlocks and is also like very brolic, like ridiculous, like a heart of gold, like one of the most gentle people, but on paper looks like a linebacker. His company was like 2 levels higher than mine, and he was desperately trying to explain to this dude, we just need it so we can get home, and he was not having it. He hit the formation. He said, "No, dameda, no." Wasn't a good time. We got home though. It's okay.
I mean, eventually also
in the end,
one way or the other.
Oh my God, Navy got a
Pocket Wi-Fi, some Japanese, and a backup battery.
and respect of culture.
Start learning now. Start
And
learning now.
respect of culture will take you far. They see you
Oh,
respect
definitely.
the culture. They will bend over backwards for you.
I've seen several videos where people that look like us who are overseas in Japan and they're at restaurants or wherever, and they respond fluently, and they're outdone. They love it.
It varies just based on what part you're in. Like I lived in Osaka, but I lived in like a suburb of Osaka. So like it was near the city, but it wasn't the city. So I would suspect they had some familiarity with exchange students, but the neighborhood that I lived in, because I live with a Japanese family, it was like, yeah, for 8 months, there's just this 6 foot tall black dude just roaming around. He doesn't like, he speaks very broken Japanese, and he doesn't really say anything to you because he has his headphones on all the time. But I would get home really late at night. So people would like, I'd be walking from the train station and it'd be dark, and I'd round the corner and somebody would see me and they like, oh, and I like, you know what? I buy that. I get that. I can see why that might.
Yeah,
I get that.
that's wild.
I can see why that might scare you.